there's some significant chatter that Condoleezza Rice would be an excellent nominee for the Republican Party. And I have encountered some willingness among significant figures in the conservative movement to accept her moderation on certain social issues because of her both strengths on national security and because symbolically she would also illustrate change for the Republican Party. But there are others, and there are many others. And if it's John McCain, he needs to win the conservative base. And if he doesn't warm with the conservative base, then he'll have to pick a strict conservative for that position. And there's a huge list of these men and women. But you might see McCain go for someone who has unimpeachable conservative credentials, simply because you want to shore up your flank before you go to war, and that's true in politics as well. I really want to emphasize I could miss several, and that this is purely from the hip. But of course, candidates like Wesley Clark, the former general from Arkansas, would help a good deal. I think he learned lessons in campaigning in 2004, and he certainly would compensate for Hillary Rodham Clinton's national security weaknesses and Barack's. Though that Hillary and him both come from the same state might pose a small dilemma, though he is Southern, and Democrats should remember that they have not won a presidential race since 1960 without a Southerner at the top or the second slot of the ticket. So that's an important fact to consider. Two, there are candidates like Brian Schweitzer, the governor of Montana. I'm not sure if he'd want it. There's the governor of Ohio. He says to me he doesn't want it, Strickland. He told me personally twice that he's not interested, that he's older, and that he's happy in Ohio. But he certainly compensates for moral values weaknesses that have haunted the Democratic Party for a long time. And when I say moral values, I mean the inference that it has to conservatives and moderates out there. And there's certainly Jim Webb out of Virginia that I think is a strong candidate for the vice presidential slot. And there are many others that I could name. Those are just three with no particular preference, though who certainly help compensate for Democratic historical weaknesses. I would also add Mark Warner to that mix, also from Virginia, former governor, who's shown a consistent ability to really close gaps on such issues as guns that have haunted the Democratic Party for some decades.